Greetings, comrades. All right, so the new rant formula is that I pick up my laptop and pace around the apartment and get it going. So the topic for tonight is the Narcissists Frankenstein. It's live! And I believe that on some level, that is what I have become. And the Narcissists Frankenstein creation is the nickname I am assigning to narcissistic abuse syndrome, or the victim of narcissists. I like to make it clear that the way I use the term narcissist really covers dark triads, so they could be Machiavellian or psychopath or sociopath. Just wicked, manipulative people who share similar traits and tactics. You were their baby, were their child, their work in progress, and it takes time. It takes time to create the Frankenstein. Okay? It's the Narcissists Frankenstein. I'm just going to call it the Frankenstein. How do they create a Frankenstein? Same way the CIA creates Frankensteins, through trauma. It's through trauma, and it's through years of trauma. You can't do it in a couple of sittings. This is something that happens to people who don't have self-respect, who don't have boundaries. It's so frustrating. If you are a Frankenstein, you are ruled by feelings of regret, feelings of wishing you could go back. You are tormented by your memory of the torment, of the abuse that you underwent at the hands of narcissists. If you haven't seen the movie Bully, I would highly recommend you watch that movie. Bully, okay? That kind of a friendship is what I'm talking about. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Man, one of the scenes in that movie that really sticks with me, the nice guy is like talking to this girl at her restaurant job, and then his narc friend comes up and punches him in the stomach and humiliates him. And then the next scene is like, hey, remember that girl from the bar? I fucked her, dude. Like, he humiliates his friend in front of this girl, and then he fucks that girl. That kind of shit, dude. You know, the people who create Frankensteins, the narcissist. Let's take a look at the narcissist for a second. I just made a post about them on Facebook. I'll go ahead and read it. I'm pretty proud of this little gem here. That's ultimately just going to amount to making people in my friends group cringe, but fuck it, the shoe probably fits. Dark triad, narcissist, psychopath, Machiavellian. They're usually very attractive, high-status people. They tend to climb the social career hierarchy with relative ease. They are very influential in social circles. Their tactics include recruiting the flying monkeys, making a social media post about someone as a means of recruiting group slander and harassment, gathering ammunition, militantly memorizing everything you say on social media or anything from your past in order to weaponize it against you when convenient, gaslighting, devaluing your feelings, suggesting you are crazy for noticing and acknowledging harassment. They walk among us. I've dealt with them many times. So to create the Frankenstein, they know that the process is complete once your reputation is ruined. What happened to me when I fell victim to group shaming, when I started lashing out on my wall and gained negative attention, that is the lashing out of the narcissistic abuse. That is the narcissistic abuse syndrome. They've corrupted you. They've polluted your entire being with resentment, regret, anger. And as a result, you lash out, and you do it in this kind of raw, unorganized way where there's going to be some truth to it, but you're not going to word it in a way where the arrow hits the target. It's going to be like a shotgun blast, and it's going to hurt all kinds of people, and it's going to turn everybody against you. And that is the moment that you have become the narcissist's Frankenstein. And I've compared myself to Blade. a lot. No, not the one that we all know. The one from the Vampire Blade, a Daywalker. The Vampire Slayer. He is part vampire, but he is also part human, and he slays vampires. I am a Frankenstein, and that cannot be undone at this point. The process has taken its full course. These people snuggled up to me all through fucking elementary school, middle school, high school. They poisoned my self-esteem. They belittled me for fucking years. I didn't have the insight or the boundaries or the self-respect to walk away from them, because that's what you gotta do, guys. That's what I said in the last video. You turn your back and you fucking walk away. And it's not like, oh dude, that's how you get all the girls, you fucking walk away. No. And the problem is, I might have edited it out of the last video. I said in the video that the reason I'm so angry is because I tried, not because I failed. I likely would have failed if I didn't try as well. I mentioned the Bukowski quote. Yeah, this all got edited out of the last video because it was followed by the big fucking rant that I always go on about how everything went wrong in my life. I'm gonna save that for now. But the Bukowski quote is that if you're gonna try, then you gotta go all the way. And if you're not gonna go all the way, then there's no reason to try. My anger comes from the fact that I tried so hard and it didn't amount to anything. If I could go back, I wouldn't try so hard. I mean, really, if I could go back, I'd try hard at something else. But as far as trying hard to fit in, that is how they create the Frankenstein, because I believe the black pill is at play here, guys, especially in high school. Look, I can compromise with you. If you want to say that, you know, people grow up and high school doesn't last forever, and it's not all about looks when you're older, women just want a guy who's, you know, in shape and well-groomed and has a career, sure. I don't believe that at this point. I think that was true before social media and dating apps, but whatever, sure. But as far as high school goes, you are not going to fucking win with charisma in high school. If you looked like me and you were fucking balding and short, the only way to win was to walk away. And probably what would happen is people would be like, hey dude, how come I never see you out anymore? It's like, you know, I mean, and it probably wouldn't hurt to just be like, I don't really like the way people talk to me, bro. Like, I'm not gonna put up with that shit. If you have boundaries, then you might be able to earn yourself some more respect. And it's really sad, bro, because it's almost like, I believe there's some people out there who, they're these like sleeper narcissists who, the people around them aren't really fit to be their food because they have too many boundaries. And it's rare to come across the particular kind of insecure person who is ripe to be food for narcissists. And once they come across these kind of people, these kind of sensitive, empathetic people with low boundaries, then, you know, their narcissistic nature comes alive and they start to fucking feed on this person. They're a dormant narcissist because there's never any food around. So you escape it by walking away, man. The damage takes years, okay? The way the process went for me was these people were close to me in elementary school, middle school, high school. I came back for a few years after college. These relationships went on for, I'm trying to think if it's decades. I mean, over a decade, right? Well over a decade. Well, about a decade. I'm thinking from like, I don't know, 12 to 25, a little over a decade. Creating the Frankenstein takes years, man. Because I'm at this point where I'm looking back over my life and it's become evident that, like, I just kept these fucking toxic people around, man. I kept these toxic people around who constantly undermined me, who constantly belittled me. Sometimes they'd like build me up and reassure me when it's just me and them hanging out. And then when they're in public, they throw me under the fucking bus for brownie points. The Frankenstein is created when you never walk away, when the resentment builds and bottles up. I think success in life could possibly save you from this resentment, But ultimately, your narcissistic abuse syndrome will probably fuck you up in other ways before you have the grand bombing of your reputation. But once your reputation goes down to the tubes from lashing out at the cancerous social structure that isolated you and tortured you for so long, once your reputation is completely destroyed, you are a Frankenstein. The narcissist's mission is complete. They have taken all of your energy, they've wasted your time, they've set you off of your path, they've hurt your reputation, they've devalued you as a person, they've sucked all of the fucking life out of you and left you an empty fucking hollow shell who nobody loves or wants anymore. And it's a fucking terrible place to be, bro. I'm trying to get off weed. Y'all know what it is. It's a fucking terrible place to be, man, because I saw that there was potential for me, man. You know, a lot of people had mixed feelings about me, and I could have done a lot better socially than I did if I never let these fucking snakes slither their way in my life. And a big theme about my channel, I feel like a lot of you guys are at the bar with me, like, yep, here, and we're fucking cheersing, and, you know, we got our heads down at the bar, and we're drunk. You know, I'm just preaching to the choir, probably. So many of my videos and so many of my advice, you guys, if you know any, like, high school guys, if you know any kids in, like, middle school, I just want to get this information to young men. Young men need to hear this, and if you're a parent, you need to be very wary of who your kids are hanging out with. You need to have discussions with your kids, like, son, can you, like, walk me through a typical day? Like, you know, would you say your friends are good to you? Do your friends ever throw you under the bus? Like, you guys make jokes about each other in your social circle, right? Like, who would you say gets clowned on and joked on the most? And if you get this, if you're seeing that your son is sensitive and he's one of the lower status guys in a social circle and he's trying to fit in with people who he's ultimately never going to fit in with, and he's trying to gesture max, and he's getting thrown under the bus by this group that's ultimately above him socially in high school or middle school, you gotta fucking save him from that, man. Because back to me comparing myself to Blade, this is what I am. This is what I am. My social life was completely fucking destroyed. And everybody's gonna lecture me about how I brought it on myself and it's my fault. But I am a Frankenstein. I am a Frankenstein, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of you guys are Frankensteins. And it's narcissistic abuse syndrome. You are their grand work. You are their masterpiece. They look at you ruining your reputation. They look at you lashing out, wounded and angry, isolating yourself from everyone and being completely fucking devalued and invalidated, written off, defamed, and they say, wow, my creation, it's alive. That's pretty much it, you guys. Is there any coming back from being Frankenstein? I don't know. We're going to find out, man. It's fascinating that I'm in this place that I'm at in life right now. And, I mean, it will always be a part of who I am, bro. I sacrificed my 20s to this shit. I sacrificed just about, at least the last half of my 20s. I had some good times from 20 to 25. 25 till now was fucking dark. And, I want to nip this shit in the bud, man. I don't want to sacrifice any more of my fucking time. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. If you're a Frankenstein, I feel for you, bro. If you're a couple of years deep into a shitty friendship, there's still time, dude. And if somehow you're listening to this and you're in high school and you're this guy who's a little bit shy, maybe you're fat, maybe you're short, maybe you started balding earlier, your friends don't respect you, you can tell, you're trying to win their respect, you're trying to, like, you know, get some girls in this fucking circle, bro, you gotta spend your weekends alone, you gotta learn Because guess what, bro? If you go through this process that I went through, you're gonna spend those weekends alone when you're fucking 30. You're gonna spend those weekends alone through your 20s. If you can just fucking walk away from those people, spend a Friday night in your room, playing some fucking video games, eating some chips and pizza, and just doing your homework and just being okay at home, because a lot of people who become Frankensteins like me, they didn't have a good life at home, okay? I didn't want to fucking be home because my dad would come up to my room drunk and fucking harass me when he was just like in a bad mood. And I didn't want to be around that kind of negative energy. A lot of times my home environment was a toxic environment, so I didn't want to be out there. I'm always trying to figure out what the fuck everybody else is doing. And what everybody else is doing ain't shit. And yeah, it's a really ugly thing, you guys. I feel like this is something that could really be what I'm about, is just trying to like steer young guys away from this shit, man. Because it's horrible. When the process is complete, you're a Frankenstein, you're isolated, you've said things that have ruined you, and then you're just filled with regret, anger, isolated, alone. It's not a good place to be, man. And that's who I am. God bless.